Okay, y'all are working on this paper right here. I'm actually going to start on the back of the first page and talk about these formulas real fast. So you have 2 times the angle equals the arc. You should know this one. 1 through 6 should be the easy part. 7 through 10 are going to be interior angles, so I can figure out that these are interior angles because they're inside the triangle, right? And so interior means. And then you got exterior angles. The difference in an interior angle and an exterior angle is going to be that if it's interior, I add and I find the average. If it's exterior, I subtract and I still divide by 2. So interior means add, exterior means subtract. So let's go back to the examples. Examples 1, 2, and 3 all have vertexes on the circle, right? Meaning they're just inscribed angles, which we've done before. So we're looking for angle V. Angle V has the endpoints U and W. So it's just half of this, so 76 divided by 2 is 38. Nice simple problem. We've got CAD, CAD. This time I need the angle instead of the arc, and if you remember, a tangent line is just the same rule as a inscribed angle. So 130 divided by 2, 65. So that's my answer. Number 3 is asking for an arc instead of an angle, so I'm going to have to end up multiplying. But I need to figure out which one I want first. So I'm looking for KL. So KL is over here. The angle that opens to KL is going to be J, because it is KJL, right? So I need to figure out what J is so I can just multiply by 2. So I'm going to add the other 2 together. That gives me 120. And the reason I did that is because I know triangle sum theorem, so if I add these and subtract, I get 60, which is this angle. And then I just got to do 60 times 2 to give me the arc it opens up to. So that was 1, 2, and 3. All of them are pretty much what we've been doing. Example 4, as you can see, the angle is outside of the circle. That's what makes it an exterior angle. So we're going to use the formula from the other side. Big arc minus small arc over 2 is what the angle is equal to. So the big arc and the small arc are inside of this angle, so the big arc is going to be, well, let's start with the angle. We're looking for angle D. I do the big arc, 120, minus the small arc, 10, over 2. The measure angle D is equal to 110 over 2, which is equal to 55. Number 5, I look and I see that the angle is outside again, so I'm still doing subtraction. Outside means subtract. This time they gave me the angle, and they're asking me for this arc right here. So I know the angle is equal to the big arc, so this one over here, minus the small arc, which is Z, divided by 2. And this is kind of confusing the first time you see it, but once you realize it's just the same thing we've been doing all year, put that over 1, I can cross multiply. 179 minus Z is equal to 150. 2 times 75, right? I'm going to subtract 179 from both sides because my goal is to get Z by itself. And I end up with negative Z is equal to negative 29. But then if I divide both sides by negative 1, these switch. Answer is 29. Okay, example number 6 is a little different and a little more difficult because it goes back to some algebra that we haven't really gone over this year in geometry. So this one's going to take a little bit longer. I can see the angle is outside again, and that angle is 64. So I'm going to do the angle is equal to the big arc minus the small arc over 2. Now the issue with this problem is they didn't tell me what the big arc was, and they didn't tell me what the small arc was. So I'm just going to make a variable for each one of them. Let's call this one x and this one y. So I know that the big arc minus the small arc is what we're looking at there. And this is a 2. So I have 64 equals this. So let's start to solve it, right? I'm not going to be able to actually solve it because I can't do x and y with just a single equation. But I can cross multiply and cross multiply. So I get y minus x is equal to 128. Now, I can't do anything else with this equation currently. So I'm going to look back at my circle. If you notice, both of these lines are tangent, and that just breaks this into 2 arcs, a major arc and a minor arc. If I just have a major arc and a minor arc in 2 pieces, then I know that y plus x is equal to the whole circle. And now I have 2 equations. I have y plus x equals 360, and I have y minus x is equal to 128. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to systems of equations from last school year, and I'm going to add these 2 equations together. So I'm going to put this one underneath that one. And if I add these 2 equations together, negative x and positive x will cancel out. Y plus y is 2y. And the rest is just constant, so not hard over there. I can solve for y. Which was my major arc, right? DEF is the major. And then if I need the minor arc, I can do one of 2 things. I can either plug it into one of these equations, because now I got 2 equations, right? Or I could just do a whole circle minus the piece I found equals the other piece, right? There's 116. So those are my 2 pieces. Now, examples 7 and 8. The angle is now inside. The angle is now inside the circle. Which means that I'm going to have to now use my interior angle formula. So basically I'm averaging them. I'm taking the 2 arcs that it opens up to, and I am dividing them by 2. So if you can see, the x is right here at this angle. So I'm going to take x, my angle, and equal it to the arc on one side plus the other arc that has x as the angle. These 2 are vertical, meaning this is also x. So I'm using this angle right here, or arc right here. So x is equal to 256 divided by 2, which is going to be 128. On the other side, I've got 100 here, which means there's 100 here, so I need the arcs that these open up to. So the angle this time is 100. The arc on this side is 46. The arc on the other side is x. I'm going to divide those by 2. Anytime I have x or any variable on this side, I end up having to cross multiply. So 100 times 2 is 200. This times 1, 46 plus x minus 46 minus 46. And a little bit of a check. This isn't going to tell me whether I have the exact right answer or not, But if you get a number that is, when I average, I'm going to have a bigger number and a smaller number, right? So if I get a number that's smaller than 100 on this side, I did it incorrectly. If this number had been bigger or smaller than either of these, I did it incorrectly. So this has to be in between 54 and 202. Now, I want to go ahead and go to the practice problems real fast. I'm not worried about you doing 1 through 6. Hopefully you've got those. For number 2, you need to know that if two arcs are in between parallel, then they're equal to each other. So EI is going to be equal to FG. I think that's the only notes you're going to need there. 7 through 10 is what I'm worried about you doing. 11 through 14 is really easier because they're just easier problems. Like, once you realize what to use, you're good. So I want to look at these with you. I'm going to go ahead and do number 7 as well, just to make sure you kind of understand what's going on. Number 9 is exactly like example 8. Number 10, once I do 7, you should be able to do. And then number 8, there's 3 ways to do it. So whichever way you choose, I think you can figure 8 out. But we're going to do 7. So I've got an arc that's 63, an arc that's 63. X opens to 182. On the other side, X opens to something I don't know. Sorry, something I don't know right there. However, I know that a circle has 360 degrees, right? So if I add the pieces I do know, and I subtract from a whole circle, I'm going to get the piece I don't know. So this piece is 52. And then once I get the piece I don't know, I can plug it in the equation, right? So the angle is equal to 52 plus 182 over 2. So you just got to make sure you have the right 2 arcs. So here, I don't have the right 2 arcs because X opens up to this arc, right? Here I have the right 2 arcs. Here I do not. I have one of them, but I don't have the other one, right? So let's finish this. Oh. 1,117, sorry. So you need to finish the rest of this there. After you get done through 14, there is a mixed practice, and it does ask you what type of angle you have as well, okay? So make sure you fill all these out because it's just helping you remember what's going on. And then down here you got a nice easy problem, 19. Yeah, so good luck.